Colin. I train NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and schools and children and adults and parents and everybody in child abuse, the prevention of child abuse, and in women abuse and the prevention of women abuse. Crime is a serious problem. That serious problem is exacerbated by the fact that with the normal crime of car hijackings and armed robberies, rape also takes place. So if anyone is raped, what they should be doing is immediately going to see a medical practitioner. They should be contacting their local police, opening up a docket of rape, and going to see their local clinic, their local hospital or local doctor. It must be remembered as well that if a person is raped, if a female is raped, that she can report it within 52 hours to have a proper rape kit taken. However, it is advisable to do it as soon as possible because the DNA that will be there just after the rape is vitally important in terms of the investigation and vitally important in terms of her medical well-being. The Sexual Offences Act now also makes it and stipulates it that the rape victim is entitled to ARVs immediately from a government institution. Also, which is quite interesting in the new act, is that the rapist can be, if he's caught within a certain period, can be tested for HIV to determine whether he's HIV positive or not. However, it must be very important understood that if he's in his window period, then if he is tested and he comes up HIV negative, the rape victim should still continue with her ARVs because of the danger that he was in a window period. But she has a right to ask for him to be tested, and only him and the investigating officer are entitled to have those details. Within the new act, they've brought the act within line of the South African Constitution, and rape is no longer gender specific. Rape is now gender generic. So a man can be legally raped and a woman can be legally raped. Also, a woman who is anally penetrated against her will is now considered rape. A man who is anally penetrated against his will is considered rape. So any person that is penetrated in a sexual manner with a sexual organ can be considered, without their consent, can be considered as being raped, and they all have the rights in terms of the new act to ARVs, to demand for HIV testing, etc. The age limits for children has changed slightly. A child between the ages of 0 and 12 under no circumstances can ever consent to having sex. Therefore, if a child is raped between the ages of 0 and 12, it is considered to be rape. There's no discussion. Between 12 and 16, if the child and that child consents to having sex, it's considered statutory rape because that child may not consent in terms of the law. And above 16, if she consents, then it's considered normal sex, and if she doesn't consent, it's considered rape. So the prevention of rape is a difficult one because how do you prevent rape? The old story of don't walk down the road wearing a miniskirt is nonsense. You're entitled to walk down the road wearing whatever you like. No one, however, has the right to force you to have sex. That's why the new act is very good, because it's all about gender generic rather than gender specific. But being clever is important. So understanding who you can call in times of emergency. When we do school talks and school education programs, we teach the children to remember to dial 10-111. Okay, so it's 10111. What we also teach them is what is the good secrets and bad secrets. What we also teach them is what parts of their body are their own. So for children, it's much easier to teach them, but it's much more difficult for them to understand. For an adult, however, being clever is really much more important. So Being out alone at night is not clever. Being alone in a car is not clever. Being alone with a person that you don't know is not clever. However, most of these crimes are perpetrated by people that they know. And so getting out of the relationship early is also important. In my opinion, one of the most important things at the end of a sexual assault, or at the end of a child abuse, or at the end of a domestic relationship that has been violent, is the closure. And the criminal case is part of that closure. So even if the guy, the rapist, is not found guilty, even if he doesn't go to jail, it is still important to have gone through the process, particularly with children, to have gone through the process and say, I believed you, I stood with you, I walked the route with you, I think that what you did was great. And with adults, it's just as important. There are plenty of people out there, there are plenty of very good policemen, there are plenty of very good social workers, there are plenty of very, very good individuals who are there solely to ensure that the victim is believed. So it's vitally important to be able to say that it doesn't matter what the outcome was, we did our best, we tried to make sure that this particular person goes to jail, and we know that this is the right way to do it. And it is part of the closure process, it's very important. And I repeat, particularly for children, to say, oh well, he's gone, or he's not around, or he's promised never to do it again, doesn't work. The violent society we live in is not going to easily go away, but each individual needs to make a difference. So each individual needs to make a difference in making that violence go away. And how we behave to each other is important. How we greet each other is important. How we smile to each other is important. When we're driving along and the traffic is terrible and we smile and we let the car in, is just as important as not allowing the rapist into your house. We, as a society, need to make a difference. We're the Rainbow Society, and by actually making a new friend a day will make a difference. However, that's not going to make the crime go away. We all need to pull together to assist in making that crime go away.